this is pretty exciting. I just took a bus and I am in the small town of Uderkerk aan de Amstel. Hope I got that right. And we're about to find out why. You'll notice I am wearing a puffer jacket, probably for the first time in nearly 2 years, and it reminds me why I chose to live in Madeira. It's cold! We are off to visit the gravesite of a Madeira native, possibly, who had as much seismic impact on the Jewish world as Cristiano Ronaldo has had on the world of football. We are standing in the middle of Bethlehem Cemetery in Van der Amstel, one of the oldest Sephardic cemeteries, or the oldest existing and continuing use Sephardic cemeteries in the world. You look around and you see so many names, Portuguese Jewish names. The inscriptions are in Portuguese. One of the grave sites is for Menasseh Ben Israel, who had so much to do with where so many Jews wound up. He may have been born in Madeira in 1604. Other accounts say he was born in Lisbon or even in France as the son of Portuguese Secret Jews. They left soon afterwards for the religious freedom of Amsterdam, and that's where Menasseh Ben Israel spent almost all of his life and made his big impact on the world, and I guess the Jewish world in particular. Menasseh Ben Israel made a name for himself at an early age as a rabbi, teacher, author, and publisher. One of his students was the great philosopher Baruch Spinoza. Rembrandt even sketched him. Establishing the first Hebrew press in the Netherlands when he was still in his 20s, Menasseh authored several books that had a deep impact on Jewish theology and the coming of the Messiah. None bigger than The Hope of Israel, where Menasseh expressed the hope that England would once again admit Jews as a way to hasten the arrival of the Messiah. Never fully welcomed in England during the Middle Ages, the Jews had finally been expelled in 1290 by King Edward I, and for nearly 400 years, that was the way it was. But things were changing in the 1600s as more progressive ideas became accepted and the post-Henry VIII English Reformation took hold. The Puritans, in particular, took an interest in the Old Testament and started giving their children Hebrew names. One very prominent Puritan was Oliver Cromwell, a military leader during the English Civil War in which King Charles I was killed and the English monarchy briefly lost power. Named England's Lord Protector in 1653, Cromwell was a great admirer of many philosophical works, including a recently published book, The Hope of Israel, Menasseh Ben Israel's masterpiece. Menasseh arrived in England in 1655. Though there is no evidence that he and Cromwell ever met, his mission stirred up debate in official circles on whether to start readmitting Jews as a part of a widely popular belief that returning the Jews to England would bring about the Second Coming. Menasseh would spend 2 years in England before returning to Amsterdam, where he died in 1657. Though an order to reverse the expulsion was never issued, Cromwell made it clear that the ban on Jews would no longer be enforced, and Jews began trickling back into the country. In 1701, Bevis Marks in London became the country's first synagogue. 1 year earlier, King William III had knighted Solomon de Medina, the first Jew to receive the honor. Bevis Marks and London became the hub of England's growing Jewish community. It also became a waypoint for Portuguese Jews wishing to head further west to America, including at least 2 of my grandfathers. Jews cannot be buried in Amsterdam, so the Jews of Amsterdam bought a plot of land where they established Beth Chaim Cemetery that happened to be along the Amstel River, one of the tributaries to Amsterdam. So when a Jew in Amsterdam died, they could basically take him by boat to be buried at Beth Chaim along the Amstel River.